As a Stellantis dealer, what's your message to them? What are your frustrations? I'm sure they're like many others, but I'll let you take it from there.
We've got these great brands, Jeep and Ram. You know, there's an old saying, play the hand you dealt. Stellantis has always been a deal brand. It's always been a good deal brand. They got bought, and somebody even admitted, Carlos said, I got greedy. And he did. And he said that he made these mistakes, meaning he thought he could continue to raise and elevate the pricing. Look, the vehicle values are determined by the consumer, not by us. And when we build value into a product, the consumer will pay for it. But we can't be in the same premium segment as Audi and BMW and Mercedes and Lexus. We're not there yet. Stellantis has some issues, but I really believe in my heart of hearts that, you know, we say they all take pretty pictures, Jim, right? But when you look behind the scenes, we got to figure out how to fix the problem.
Funny, when you got one of these guys who's got one of these scat packs and they start making a little bit of noise and all of a sudden everybody else starts driving aggressively, even when all they got is these damn little boring ass Hondas. So you see that guy right there with the scat pack, all of a sudden he makes a little bit of noise and the Honda wants to try to catch up to him. But now he's slowing down. He's slowing down because he knows it's me. He must know it's me. He knows I'm recording him. He knows. He has to know. Yeah, he knows. He's watching too. Well, yeah, he knows. He knows what it is. So anyway, I'm just out. Oh shit! The guy's right next to me. So anyway, the guy's out here. I'm just trying to do a little bit of Jeep maintenance, trying to, you know, keep the battery up, keep the fluids moving. This has basically become my Saturday or Sunday car, where all I do is I take it out Saturday or Sunday for a quick drive. So everything's going good. I got that battery from Walmart, and it's doing pretty good. You know, there's no power warning. There's no low power energy saver thing. Engine seems to be okay. Cause see, you know, here's the problem though. Stellantis, I saw it coming. I've been saying it ever since the Chrysler 300 didn't get the Hellcat. I saw it coming. Stellantis is going to sink Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. They're going to kill all of those brands off. And I saw the new Ram truck, and they're talking about this Hurricane engine. It's a V6 twin turbo, and it's, 540 horsepower and all this. And the thing about it is nobody who buys a Dodge product wants that, you know? If they wanted a twin turbo 6, they would have gone to Ford. You know, it's crazy. See, what they're doing, this is how they're fucking up. They keep putting inappropriate engines in these fucking cars. What they're doing is like, in the good old days, like even with this minivan, this Dodge minivan right here, right? You get a V6 for that minivan, everything's good. You get all-wheel drive, you get rear-wheel drive, or front-wheel drive, whatever it is, and that's it. And it's a naturally aspirated V6. You don't have any real problems. If you have any problems, you just get those parts repaired. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make these small engines do way more work in order to meet their efficiency goals. And I do understand that a lot of this shit is set by the government, the green energy movement, all that shit. But the bottom line is you're putting inappropriately sized engines in these cars. Like even with this Nissan Maxima, you're talking about maybe 4,000 pounds to 5,000 pounds full of passengers. It's like something like that should have a V6 in it. You shouldn't be putting a V6 in a fucking truck that weighs like 5,000 pounds. That's just dumb. And you're making these engines overwork, you're making these transmissions overwork, and you're damaging them. And the reliability sucks. See, that's why the Hemis did so well. It's because the engine was appropriately sized. The transmission was appropriately sized. What you weren't doing was you weren't taking a small engine and making it work harder and forcing the transmission to go straight to the 9th gear because it's trying to get enough towing ability to pull that car and all that shit. It's like, it's just dumb, you know? But as far as Stellantis, they're going to kill these brands. Now, I know right now, supposedly, they're looking for a new CEO. They're getting ready to get rid of Carlos Tavares' ass. But Carlos Tavares is not the problem. See, these people act like, oh yeah, all we got to do is get rid of Carlos and everything will be good and we'll have V8s again. It's like, no, that's not going to happen. Y'all don't get it. The V8, Hemi, Hellcat, Demon, all that shit is dead. So what's going to happen is you get rid of this one guy, you replace him with another guy, but you're still stuck with 4xe hybrids. Nobody wants that shit. You're still stuck with this plug-in hybrid garbage. And by the way, those cars are more likely to get into a fire. And this is statistics. You can look it up. Those cars are more likely to have a fire than even an electric vehicle. Electric vehicles are less likely than hybrid. Look at this piece of shit. Fucking FJ Cruiser. Those things were ugly when they came out. They're still ugly. And the people who bought them want them because they look different. And that's it. But they're ugly. So anyway, what was I thinking? Yeah, plug-in hybrids have more electrical fires than electric vehicles do. And that's pure statistics. There have been studies done. And now that they have lithium-ion phosphate batteries, the lithium-ion phosphate batteries are much less likely to burst into flames than a lithium-ion battery. So going forward, as we move towards like solid-state batteries and stuff, electric vehicles will become safer and safer and safer. The one thing they really have to work on, in my opinion, is the weight, because a lot of the electric vehicles are heavy. My Lyriq weighs more than this Jeep does. But Stellantis is going to kill that company because the problem is the buyers of these products, they're not interested in efficiency. They're not interested in that. They want waste. They're egotistical. They want to have more power than everybody else. They're stealing these cars left and right. Like, I was watching videos about showing how they steal these Chargers and Challengers. They break into the rear quarter panel window, and then they climb into the car and steal the car from the inside. And as long as you don't open the doors, the car doesn't even react. Stellantis waited all this time. They didn't even put in adequate security measures for. They didn't care. That's what it is. They just didn't care. Getting rid of Carlos Tavares is not going to change any of that. The bottom line is, all you've got to look forward to is those 4xe plug-in hybrids up until they can get their battery electric vehicles rolling, because obviously they're having trouble with the Wagoneer S. Obviously they're having trouble with the Dodge Charger EV. As soon as they can get battery electric vehicles fully rolling, they'll try to replace the PHEVs. Now, the one thing I have to say that works in their favor is the fact that Tesla has opened up the supercharger network. Once Tesla opens it up to the Charger EV and the Stellantis cars, I think adoption of EVs might actually end up being a little bit better at that point, because now you have so many more chargers to choose from. You know, electric vehicles, as long as you have enough charging places for them where people don't feel overwhelmed and anxious, you're fine. Because the new charging station I have at Target, I love it. And I love the ability to possibly charge at a Target network. In fact, they're sending me the adapter free. I didn't have to pay $200 because I'm a YouTuber. You've probably noticed all the products I've been getting that I've been showing off on my channel and, promoting. They're sending me that charger adapter free, so I don't even have to pay for it. But I'm way more comfortable with my electric vehicle than I was when I first got it, and I was like, oh shit, there's an EVgo charger, but there's only 2 stalls, and you have to wait to use it. Now I pretty much never have to wait. I pull into Target, and for the most part I pull right into the charger. And if I don't pull right in, there's usually like only one person in front of me, and after just a few minutes I get right in there, so it's no problem. But I'm happy that the Tesla supercharger network is open. GM claims that they are building more EVgo chargers. I'm very happy to see that. I don't know what Electrify America is doing, but it seems like they really are starting to get a little bit more serious about EVgo and electric vehicle chargers in general. And the Tesla network is already mature, so it keeps on growing. But the bottom line is, even in this short drive, I can see the gas needle dipping on this truck. Like, I kept this truck because I paid this truck off, and I didn't want to part with it because you can't buy another one. If you tried to buy anything else the size of a Jeep SRT, you're paying like $70,000 or $80,000. So I was like, no, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to hold on to it, and this would be like, quote unquote, my work truck or my Sunday car or whatever you want to call it. But these things are expensive. Look at this guy. This guy's got a truck. He came down here. He's not supposed to be down here. And now he's trying to figure out how to get back up. He's going to get tickets and shit. Look at this. You're not supposed to be here, stupid. You're not supposed to be here, Western Express. You fucked up. So anyway, yeah. So, I'm driving it. Sunday drive. It's a horrible Sunday because of the hurricane down south. The weather looks terrible. But, yeah, I'm just doing my little maintenance drive. And, just getting the fluids moving, getting the battery charged and all that. So, just stopping in this mall real quick. Take a look right here. See these Tesla superchargers. Want to see how many of these turkeys are here right now. It's Sunday morning, by the way. See how many of these turkeys are here right now. Lots of these turkeys. See, Tesla had that shit figured out from the very beginning. They were like, yo, we're going to sell these cars. We need as many of these goddamn chargers as we could possibly have. And we have to standardize all of this shit so that they all charge the exact same way. They figured it out. That's why Elon Musk is worth $250 billion. Oh, a Cybertruck! They got the Cybertruck. Oh, shit. Okay, so Elon Musk is worth $250 billion. They got the Hummer EV right here. They're trying to say, oh, the electric vehicles aren't selling. But anyway, Elon Musk worth $250 billion. Got all these stupid liberals. Can't stop him. He's got X saying whatever the fuck he want to say on X, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, look at this guy. They got the Cybertruck. Yeah. Oh, I think I know this guy right here. They put tassels on the front of these cars for some reason. I have no idea why. But, oh, look at this guy. Wait a minute. That's a fake Trackhawk. That shit is fake. That ain't no real Trackhawk. I'm not even going to record you. I don't even want to record you. I thought you were a real Trackhawk. I don't know what you doing. It's a fake Trackhawk. Just because you got yellow Brembo, the shit ain't even Brembos. You painted that shit. Fake. So what we got right here? Look at this. We got this mall right here. Five Below, Burlington. Got Burlington Coat Factory. We're more than great coats. GNC. I thought, oh, Chuck E. Cheese. You can go in and play some games. That's cool. Ain't too much going on here. It's Kamala Harris right there, I think. Okay, come on, let's go. Yeah, my battery, I tried to rev my engine while I was driving, and the battery voltage meter thing came on. So, not sure why, but it did. Not sure why, but it did. I don't know. But it'll go away. It'll go away eventually. Okay. Don't go. Nope. My turn. Look at this guy. All that fake ass shit on there. That is not a Durango Hellcat. Why you got all that fake shit on there? See, I might be able to make my turn before yeah, I'm getting out of here first. Bye, guys. All those Mazdas, nobody wants them shits. Those aren't even electric vehicles. Nobody wants them. Those aren't electric vehicles, and nobody wants them. Why? Because they're Mazdas. Boring. Yeah, the battery voltage thing will go off after a little bit of a time. Like when you stop the car and you let it sit for a little while. Usually I don't know why that code trips, but it's irrelevant. It doesn't really matter. It'll go off. When I stop the car and I start it again, the code will just clear. I still got 90,847 miles. I don't even have 91,000 yet. And I drive this thing so infrequently. And it's a fun car to drive, but it's funny because now, you feel how high off the ground you are and you feel how, clunky a engine car is. It's not as fun as driving electric, honestly. It's not as smooth. Look at this. Speeding and shit. Got a Pacifica minivan next to me. Bye, guys. It's like I keep this car just sitting still. People be asking me about it all the time. Oh, how much do you want for that? I'll be like, I ain't selling it. It's not for sale. That's my Jeep. I ain't selling this. If you want a Jeep, you're gonna have to go to the store. You're gonna have to buy one of them shitty bullshit Pentastar V6 Jeeps or a 4xe. They don't put Hemis in them things no more. They're boring now. Stellantis gonna kill that company. They got a freaking Ram truck with a Hurricane engine. Nobody want that. Nobody want that. People want to roll coal. So I guess Stellantis is just going to have to die. The whole company is going to have to die. Boring. At least Cadillac's making V8s. They got them black wings and them V series. At least Cadillac's still doing what they're supposed to be doing, despite the fact that they're slowly moving towards electric vehicles. At least now people are talking about Cadillac with reverence. I'm very proud of them. Meanwhile, Jeep, they got fucked up vehicle fires. The vehicles are bursting into flames and just sitting on your front lot. Like, nobody's doing anything and the vehicle just bursts into flames. And it's not even an electric vehicle. It's like, what the hell's going on? Stellantis, supposedly the Dodge Durangos that they sold the cops ain't working. And then they refuse to, they're not replacing them and stuff. That's terrible. They're destroying the whole company. Destroying it all. How sad. Well, I'm glad I replaced these carbon fiber look applique things. Now, when that side starts to go, I have two more to replace on that side. And then I gotta find somebody who can replace the buttons in the steering wheel, because I could figure out how to take the steering wheel off to replace it, because I bought the button panels. And I want to replace these buttons because, as you can see, they start getting worn off because of your fingers. And this portion right here, this is $20. I was going to buy one of those off of eBay too, so I can replace this and these. And I already got this piece, but I haven't replaced it yet. So I'm thinking about doing that. So, bring it back up to code a little. Bring it back up to code. Look at this guy. Where are you going? Yeah, just get these brakes warmed up just a little bit. Just get these brakes warmed up. Got this Escalade next to me. Got this Escalade and this woman, she won't close her mouth. This guy. Yeah. Kidding, you know, SRT life can be fun in short spurts. Uh-oh. Let's get over here. What's what? This guy's got a trailer and shit. The next time I take the car out, it'll be next week. I'll probably get some more gas. Get some more gas in it. Because right now, you know, I've wasted about a freaking quarter. I wasted a little bit. I could smell the brakes. I could smell the tires now. I like Sunrise Highway so much better when there's no traffic on it. It just looks so much better. Look at the Ford dealership. They got these boring-ass Broncos. It's like they were trying to use the Bronco damn near to... I don't know if they were trying to replace the Escape or replace the Explorer or just have some kind of option in between. Those are the little Broncos, those Bronco Sports. Like, Ford and I don't know what they're doing. Oh, look at this shit. It's like this Toyota Camry out the way. Yeah, get out of the way. These guys don't even... Wow, it's like, y'all better be careful because you're gonna run into each other. Alright, it's time to pass this little Nissan. It's time to pass it. Bye, Nissan. Bye, Nissan. Bye-bye. So we say bye-bye. All right. We say bye-bye. Bye, Nissan. No, don't get behind me. We say bye-bye. The wasteful feeling of power. So wasteful. Uh-oh, another one of these boring-ass Jeeps. You better be careful. Don't leave that thing plugged in. It might burn down. Stellantis is not very good with the reliability, my friend. We say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye, Nissan. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Yeah, don't look at me. Don't even look at me. Nissan Sentra SV. Ha! Don't you dare look up here. Look at this guy. Oh, this guy's got a Grand Cherokee, but he's got stickers and shit all over. Why you got all them stickers, Pops? We say bye-bye. I never seen nobody got them damn stickers in the window. Like, what's that about? Where's this guy going? Where you going? Where's you going? Where's you going? You ain't got no engine in that car, boy. Where's you going? Where is you going? You ain't got no engine in that car, boy. Stellantis don't care about you. You ain't got no engine in that car, boy. Where you going? All right, man, I just had some coffee. Uh-oh, the Nissan Sentra SV's back. He's come to take his weight in blood. Where you going, boys? Where's you going? Where's you going? Stellantis don't care about you. Hey, look, it's a Honda Prologue. I like those. Stellantis don't care about you. They didn't give you no engine, boy. Wait, uh-oh, we got another one. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Stellantis doesn't care about you. They left you to dry out on the ringer. They don't care. Oh, 4xe. Look, we got 4xe right here. There's a lot of these damn Jeeps. You know, it's too bad those things are bursting into flames and having so much problems. And then this old guy right here, he's got the Grand Cherokee of old. He's got the old one. A lot of Grand Cherokees out here. It's too bad these guys, they ain't got no real engines in these cars no more. It's pathetic. It makes me wonder. It's like, what could that company have been like? Oh shit, this old man's trying to race. Oh shit. Where you going, old man? You ain't going nowhere. How many times do I gotta teach you this lesson, old man? Where's this guy going? Where are you going? You ain't got no engines up in these cars, boy. Where you going? Where is you going? I don't know what these old people do. What is this Nissan Sentra SV? Where's you going? Look at this. That's a cop car. It's a cop car right there. He's patrolling for people like me. Where you going? They ain't got no engines in these cars. I'm trying to figure out, where's this guy going? What's that guy doing back there? Guy's up there trying to pull off. You can't pull off. You ain't got no engine. What's going on? It's like I'll be in like third gear by the time you get to first. It's sad. Bye, guys. We say bye-bye. No wonder people keep stealing these damn cars. These things are fucking awesome. No wonder. No wonder why everybody tried to steal these fucking cars. It's like, oh, it's got a Hemi in it? Yeah, let's steal it. We say bye-bye. Well, that was entertaining. For me, anyway. Not for the people I was passing, but entertaining for me. I know he's in there with his wife. He's like, yeah, honey, why didn't you get a Hemi? Well, honey, because they don't sell Hemis anymore. You know, Dodge and Chrysler, they decided that all we needed was a 4xe with a V6. They decided we don't need the Hemi anymore. The Dutch owners decided that we don't need that. We don't need that because they can't get it in Europe, so we don't need it either, honey. That's why we don't have a V8. It's pathetic. It's just sad. It's just really sad. But don't worry, honey. We're going to be able to apply for the Wagoneer S, an electric vehicle. That's what they said that we should have, because they said that's all we need. The European communists suggested that we don't need V8s. They said that all they do is go fast and make a lot of noise. Anthony's sewer, any drain. Any sewer, any drain. Trust the snake. So there you go. That's free advertising. Anthony said, trust the snake. Trust the snake. You know what? The snake is going to get your wife if you're not there when the plumber shows up. Trust the snake? No, I don't trust the snake. If you invite Anthony over there and your wife is there and you're not, she's going to find all about the snake, especially if she can't afford to pay for that high price of replacing her water boiler. She is going to find out all about the snake because you should have been there, but you were at work. And the plumber is going to plumb her. That's why they call it a plumber, because he's going to plumb her. Yeah, I figure while I'm out here, I'm going to just swing by the charging station just to see who's there. Just to see if anybody's there. Why not? Well, this guy, he's got a Jeep, but he doesn't have that SRT. Yeah, everything's so boring now. It's like I'm looking at these even new Lamborghinis. This shit's so boring. It's like the Temerario fucking V8. It's like, that's sad. That's boring. And no more V10. Now, I never liked the V10, but it's a damn shame to see it go in favor of a goddamn V8. I mean, that's supposed to be a $300,000 or $400,000 car, and you're gonna have a damn V8 in it? Shit, you might as well buy one of these Honda Pilots and test the case. It's really, everything's so boring now. It's like all these cars basically look alike. Everything has like the same rear design now. It's like everything has a spoiler because everything's about aerodynamics. And whether it's gas car or electric car, everything's so fucking boring. Give it another 10, 15, maybe even 20 years. It's like, everything's going to be basically the same shit. There's only going to be a handful of cars that actually have real silhouettes. But I just want to go by the, what is it called? The charging station and see who's there. Yeah, I was looking at my voltage. So I think the car considers anything lower than 14 to be low voltage. Oh shit! Did they get in an accident? What the fuck? Why are they sitting there like that on the side? What the hell's wrong with these people? Creating car accidents and traffic and shit for no good reason. That's that new Chevy Traverse. Yeah, so the new Chevy Traverse. I'm looking at these cars, man. They're taking the V6s out of the damn cars. It's like the Chevy Traverse. That's a three-row car. That thing is supposed to have like a V6 at least. But the new V6, or I'm sorry, the new 4-cylinder they got in there is supposed to be like 330 horsepower. The thing about it is I'd rather have a V6. I don't want no turbocharged anything. I don't want turbos. I hate turbos. All right, everybody slow down. Woo! Yeah, it's like, oh, you might as well just keep it naturally aspirated. See, the thing about it is, if you have a naturally aspirated vehicle, the reason why they wanted to go forced induction on everything was because when you go to different altitudes, you start to lose power. And I would rather just have naturally aspirated because I live in New York. I live near sea level. I don't live in like Colorado or some shit. So you lose power if you don't have forced induction, but only when you're at higher levels, like, lower air pressure and you're at higher altitudes. But I wouldn't have that problem here. But now they try to make... look at this lady's interior. She's got like embroidery and stuff on her seats. I've never seen that before. Yeah, I tell you. Making her OnlyFans money. She got her OnlyFans, but she got her OnlyFans Mercedes. Selling them feet photos, man. That's what it's all about. It's about selling feet photos. You sell them feet photos, you'd be rich. Yes, I just want to see who's at the. Look at this asshole. You know he got yourself hit. I just want to see what the charging station looks like. As far as I can tell, it's not even crowded from what I can tell. But I just wanted to take a quick look. You know, it's like by habit. You want to come see the charging station, even if you're not going shopping or nothing. Just by force of habit of actually coming here to charge your car. And that's the whole thing. It's like when these companies and these businesses, if you're not getting enough people coming to them, yeah, you need to install charging stations. Like these dying malls. Like I was at this mall, what was it, the Atlantic Mall last week? And there was like nobody there. And a lot of the stores were going dead. And it's like, yeah, because you ain't got nobody here. You need to have something to get people to actually want to come here, even if it's a charging station. You know, wherever you put a charging station, there will be people who want to use it. Yeah. Oh, let's go this way. I just want to swing by, see if I recognize anybody. It's like the hangout spot. Nissan area, BZ4X, Honda Pro. I'm seeing so many of these Prologues. Honda must be selling them things like crazy. I think when you buy the lease on one of those cars are like $300 a month. The Prologue, and I think the BZ4X might even be cheaper. I think the BZ4X is like $200 150 or something like that. And I think all you got to do is put like 6,000 down. It's like they're moving them cars. I can't even make fun of them. They're moving them cars. Wow. Okay, yeah, so I just had to satisfy my curiosity. But see, these are the real ones right here. These RAV4s. That's what everybody want to get. They want that RAV4. That's the bread and butter. But from what I'm hearing, Toyota's engines suck. They got a lot of recalls coming. Yeah. All right, so the battery will take care of itself. I'm not really worried about it. While I'm also out here, it's also a chance to dry off and to clean off the brakes and get brake dust off that, builds up when the car's just sitting. I'll get more gas next week. Yeah, I'll get more gas next week. Next weekend is going to be a long weekend. So I'll take care of that then. It's a shame. These new Jeep Grand Cherokees, they're selling. The problem is these things have a lot of reliability issues. And it's a damn shame when you've got more reliability issues than the last generation. That's a damn shame. I don't know how the Wranglers are doing, but every time I've heard something about them, it hasn't been that good. That's not good. That's not good at all. It's a Durango. Oh, that's a Durango Hellcat. The Hellcat Durango. It's so hard to tell from a distance. The Hellcat Durango. All right. Like, this car is fun to drive. It's just that now that I'm more used to driving in something lower to the ground, it's like now this car feels floaty. Like, it's high off the ground and it feels like it's floaty. See, because my Cadillac, that thing stays pinned to the ground because that thing's got a big ass battery and it's heavy and shit. This car feels floaty. State troopers. Bastards right over there waiting. If you've been watching YouTube, you've probably been noticing that there's a number of people on YouTubers who follow Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Ram, and they've constantly been beating the drum that Stellantis is going to take down Dodge and they're going to take down Chrysler, probably going to take down Ram and Jeep as well. Because, it's funny, I was looking on Facebook and I saw there was an ad for the new Ram 1500. So what they're promising is a 540 horsepower Hurricane engine, which is basically what they already have in the Wagoneer. But from what I'm hearing, that engine is also having a lot of reliability issues. Now, that actually led me to go and look up Ford's EcoBoost engine and find out about those to see how much luck Ford had replacing their V8 engines with the EcoBoost. Because I remember I had a 2002 Ford Expedition and it had the Triton V8 in it. And for the most part, that V8 was in the Expedition. If I'm not mistaken, you could get it in the F-150. And it wasn't a bad engine. It was just that the coil packs kept on dying in that engine. Every certain number of miles, it was like you'd have to replace coil packs. And as far as I was concerned, you had to replace them more frequently than you should have had to replace them. But they replaced the V8 engines in the Navigator, the F-150, the Expedition, and they replaced it with these EcoBoost V6 engines. And I've driven the Navigator, and it was okay. I wasn't impressed by it. But then again, something like that is basically a bus. When you drive something like that, you're not trying to drive it fast. You're not really trying to whip it around or anything. You're just driving in straight lines in the middle of the highway or in the left lane. You're not really trying to move around with something that size. And the same thing goes for the Wagoneer. But I personally knew that this was coming, and I'd been calling it all along. I was like, yeah, Dodge is dead. Chrysler's already dead. And without the V8 engine, Dodge Chrysler is irrelevant. And it looks like that might end up hurting Ram and Jeep too. But, Jeep doesn't really rely on the V8 engine. That was really just the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Most of the other Jeeps can get by with V6s and 4xe technology. But whether Carlos Tavares is replaced or not, and it looks like he's possibly going to be replaced within the next 2 weeks. That's what it seems like. But whether he's replaced or not, these people are acting like just getting rid of him is going to suddenly bring back the Hemi and the V8 is going to be fine. It's like, no, that's not going to happen. Especially after this last hurricane that just happened. There ain't no lawmaker voting to let V8 engines back on the roads. They are ultimately going to push efficiency. They're going to push higher gas mileage. They don't care about your ego. They don't care that you want to hear the engine. They don't care about none of that. It's like they're going to blame climate change as a reason why they need to get rid of V8s. And they're going to keep on pushing forward with that. Getting rid of Carlos Tavares is not going to change that. Stellantis still owns the rights to all of that technology. They own the right to, I know they lost the SRT name badge, but they own the rights to all of that stuff, and they're not going to give it up. They're not going to sell it, and they're not going to keep making it, because if they were going to keep making it, they could just keep on going with what they have now. They're not going to do that. I've said it before. A lot of these people, they thought by now they'd be riding around in 2,000 horsepower Hemis by now. It's like, that had to stop. It had to come to an end. They weren't going to allow you to keep pushing those things any further. They weren't going to allow that to happen. Like the Demon 170 has been out long enough for everybody to realize that it's a joke. It's a bad joke. It's a failure, basically. Stellantis put that thing out. They made all types of big claims about how powerful it was, how fast it was, and then it turns out that it's getting its ass whipped by the Tesla Plaid. It can't even hit the top speeds that it's supposed to hit. There's always a caveat as to why it can't. And the thing is basically a flop. Now, a lot of people went out there and spent top dollar for that thing. They spent $100,000 over sticker. You'd have to be stupid to spend that kind of money over sticker for something like that, you'd have to be an idiot. But there's a lot of idiots out there. There's a lot of what do they call them? Rich dummies. There's a lot of people out there. What is it? A fool and their money is soon parted. And it's actually really disappointing because I was expecting, this to be a really big thing. I was expecting this thing to come out and beat everything out. It just didn't happen. I was very disappointed. But that's the reality. Just getting rid of Carlos Tavares is not going to change any of that. It's like you're still stuck with, a product that nobody wants. And I'll say this before I even read this story, because this is something the New York Times just put out pretty much. I've noticed that just about all products that have been released lately are lackluster. The new Lamborghinis, for example, the new Lamborghini Temerario, it's going to have a V8 with turbochargers. It's like nobody wants that. They want a V10 and they can't get it no more. Then there's the Revolto. The Revolto, they narrowly avoided being forced to take the V12 out of that thing. And it's a hybrid electric motor assist. And I think they're going to end up having a lot of electrical issues with that, but that remains to be seen. And that's disappointing. And then they've marked up the prices on everything. And it feels like all of these new products are just lackluster compared to the last generation. Same thing goes with these phones. iPhone, I hate to say it, but, the iPhone 16, as far as I'm concerned, the launch was a flop. They didn't have artificial intelligence, Apple Intelligence. They didn't have it ready. They didn't give you any real reason to upgrade. And then that camera button that they added, a lot of people are saying it really doesn't work well. And they're saying that they're having issues with it and it's awkward to use. And then there's like everything else. It's just like everything's so boring now. It's like everything's boring, everything's lackluster. So that's what I had to say just leading into this story. So I'm going to skim over this. It says, why Stellantis, owner of Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram, is struggling. The automaker created by a 2021 merger is dealing with labor unrest, slumping sales, and a revolt from its dealers. Now, I will say this. When I was holding FCA stock, when Stellantis took it over, I got a very nice payday out of that because I'm not exactly sure exactly what happened, but when they switched the stock from FCA to Stellantis, I got like a very nice paycheck delivered straight to my TD Ameritrade. So I got some very nice capital gains out of that. And Stellantis still to this day, right now, they're still paying like a 10.3% dividend. So while I see that there's a lot of hedge funds lining up to possibly short Stellantis stock, I'm not going to dump Stellantis until they stop paying the dividend. And then I'll see what happens because they could be bought by another company. But when you pay a dividend, that means that you're making profit and you're able to redistribute it to your investors. I don't see Stellantis being able to make a profit for very long. So it's very possible they may end up losing their dividend. If that happens, I'll still be at a gain from when the stock was FCA. So I'll sell it and maybe I'll pick up GM or something because GM seems to be doing well. Or depending upon where Ford and Tesla, depending upon where they are, I might pick up more of those stocks. But I'm not going to sell Stellantis until I stop getting a dividend. If I stop giving a dividend, that's when I'll sell. But anyway, it says, okay, this is by Jack Ewing. Stellantis, an automotive colossus that owns more than a dozen brands, including Chrysler, Fiat, Jeep, Peugeot, and Ram, is facing challenges at seemingly every turn. The company's sales and profit have been plummeting. Dealers stuck with parking lots filled with unsold cars are publicly criticizing Stellantis and its chief executive in unusually harsh terms. Stellantis' stock price has fallen almost 50% from its high in March. And the union that represents its U.S. factory workers is threatening to go on strike at several plants. So, as you remember, we had that UAW strike. My Jeep just happened to be in service when we had the UAW strike, making it very difficult for me to get the parts that I needed. Even at my dealership, there were a lot of people who quit. There were pallets piled up in the warehouse and nobody was there to actually deal with them. And it was pretty much at that point that I was like, you know what? This is a sinking ship. And I was saying that to myself. I was like, you know what? They're in serious trouble. And it went beyond the pandemic for me. I was looking at it like, yeah, this company is fucked. And because of the fact that I still own one of their cars, I have to make moves. I got to do something. Otherwise, I'll be fucked with them. And that was the reality. And I knew, I was like, wait a minute. They're switching over to electric vehicles. The people who buy these cars don't want electric vehicles. I don't have a problem with having, in fact, I was excited to have an electric vehicle. So I was like, no, I got to get out of here. And the reality is, I don't see myself buying it. Like, there's people who constantly nag and criticize me about how I suddenly turned on Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. I didn't turn on them. They downsold me. They tried to what's the proper term? They tried to bait and switch me on a product. I was expecting one thing. They didn't give it to me. So as far as I'm concerned, I feel betrayed by the company. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the other people who own these products and who've paid big money for these products, I'm pretty certain they feel betrayed too. But anybody, I'm going to say this, and I know I'm going to hurt feelings, anybody who paid more than $75,000 for a Hellcat, you got fucked out of your money. And that was a stupid move. I don't give a shit how much over. You got screwed. Like, I knew that they were going to have issues when they started marking these things up. And they put those wide body kits on, and because basically, you got to understand, when they put the wide body kits on, those cars, it wasn't the same as my car, because my car had hydraulic steering. Those wide body kits changed the look of those cars, but they also added electric steering to those cars, and they added a couple of other features within the circuitry of those cars. So they tried to justify raising the price then. And, a lot of people were excited and they rushed out and bought those things. But it's like now most of those cars are repossessed. Most of those cars have been stolen. Most of those cars have been broken into, parts missing, totaled. It's like, yeah, people feel betrayed. And now you're telling them that they can't buy those cars because you've put markups on these cars that are 30, 40, 50% markups on these cars. You're putting $75,000 market adjustments on these cars. I'm pretty sure that most people understand what I'm saying when I say, yeah, I feel betrayed by the company. When you're going to tell me that you're going to stop making a Chrysler SRT and you're going to put all of your focus into Dodge and you're not even going to give the Chrysler 300 a Hellcat engine, that's in my opinion, that's betrayal. That's betrayal as far as I'm concerned. I don't give a shit how anybody feels about it. That's betrayal. And then you start marking the prices up and literally ripping off your customer. As far as I'm concerned, that's betrayal. So if nobody else is understanding that, then that's your problem. I can give a fuck. But as far as I'm concerned, that's betraying the customer, as far as I'm concerned. But when this company is owned by a bunch of Europeans, they don't give a fuck about how they don't care how Americans feel about their cars. They don't care about your ego. They don't care, like, they hate American cars. They really do. They hate American freedoms. If they could, they'd take our Second Amendment. If they could, they'd take our First Amendment, because they ain't got it. In their countries, they're those commies. They ain't got the First Amendment. They ain't got the Second Amendment. They don't have the Third and Fourth and Fifth Amendment. They ain't got none of it. They don't have the Bill of Rights. It's like these people live basically under the boot heel of their governments. And they hate Americans. They really do. They hate our arrogance. And I totally understand that. But they hate Americans. They really do. They're not free. That's why a lot of them want to come over here so that they can go crazy in the chaos that we have right here. But then again, some of them want to come over here and they want to take that away from us. They want to make it so we're as not free as they aren't. It's terrible. But anyway, it says the company's sales and profit have been plummeting. Dealers stuck with parking lots filled with unsold cars are publicly criticizing Stellantis and its chief executive in unusually harsh terms. Skip down, it says United Automobile Workers locals are expected to vote in the coming days to authorize strikes against several Stellantis factories, protesting what they say are broken promises by the automaker. The problems are raising questions about the future of Carlos Tavares, the Stellantis chief executive who races cars in his spare time. What cars do you race, Carlos? I'm trying to figure that out. But anyway, after taking the reins at the French car maker PSA in 2014, he acquired a series of rivals to build a company that last year sold more cars than General Motors did. Last week, Stellantis said it was evaluating who should lead the company when Mr. Tavares' contract expires in early 2026. Oh, so wait a minute. His contract doesn't expire till 2026. So unless they buy him out, this guy's going to be around for another year at least. It says Mr. Tavares could remain chief executive, Stellantis said, but the statement was hardly a vote of confidence. In 2021, PSA merged with Fiat Chrysler, and the combined company adopted the name Stellantis. While the company is based in Amsterdam, its U.S. operations accounted for more than half of Stellantis' profit in the first 6 months of 2024, meaning that problems were reverberant across the Atlantic, and the problems are deep, analysts say. I wouldn't want to be Carlos Tavares, said Aaron Keating, the senior director of economic and industry insights at Cox Automotive, a market research firm. Jeep and other Stellantis brands raised prices more than other automakers did in recent years. And see, that also, I got to say real quick, that also, when I saw those new Jeep Grand Cherokees come out, first of all, I was really disappointed with the exterior looks because they looked boring. Then I looked at the interior. Yes, they did upgrade the features, the main features. You know, they had heated, ventilated massage seats. They made adaptive cruise control standard for the most part across every trim that I saw. And then they, put a passenger TV screen on the side, similar to how Mercedes has the hyperscreen in their electric cars. Yeah, it looked great. Unfortunately, they marked these prices up so much that these new Jeep Grand Cherokees are like 60, 70,000, 80,000. I was like, this is nuts. I mean, you're charging more for a regular Jeep. When I say regular, you're charging more for one of these regular Jeeps with regular engines. You're charging more than, the SRT product. And when those things are fully loaded, you're talking about close to $90,000. And I'm like, nah, man, that's crazy. No, but who's going to afford that? People are used to paying $40,000 to $50,000 for one of those cars. How are you marking these damn things up by like 30%? Like I knew they were going to have problems like when I first saw that. But anyway, it says high interest rates and that's another thing. The federal government raised interest rates because, see, a lot of people, you got to remember, in 2021, when we first went to proxy war with Russia over Ukraine, when the Federal Reserve raised those interest rates, that was it for a lot of businesses, because and the housing market, I should say. I mean, right before that, you were able to refinance your home 3%, 30 years fixed, 20%, or you could get a 20-year fixed or 15, but you were able to refinance your home between 2.75 and 3%. Now you're looking at 7, 8%, and you're looking at a higher home value. Even with the Federal Reserve having slightly lowered the interest rates by just 50 basis points, the 30-year fix is still sky high. And then when you look at cars, yeah, you're looking at 8, 9, 10%, 11% interest rates, and that's assuming you have good credit. I went to Mercedes when I was waiting for my Cadillac to be built, because if you remember, it took a whole year for me to get that damn car. But I went to Mercedes looking at options, and basically I was only really looking at either the S500 or the EQ, I think it was the EQB. And they were saying, like, yeah, if you want to lease one of these cars, the even if you have excellent credit, like the base interest rate is like 11%. I was like, you must be kidding. Like they were literally telling me, yeah, the base interest rate, if you have excellent credit, is like sky high. I was like, there's no way in hell I would pay that. That's insane. And I was like, nah, the hell with that. I'll just keep waiting. But that's the interest rates don't help and didn't help. And they also, to some extent, justified these dealerships trying to raise the prices because they were trying to make up for all the money that they were losing. You know, as the interest rates went up, their sales went down. It was a very simple cause and effect relationship. But anyway, it says high interest rates made those prices even more unpalatable to car buyers. As a result, many people who are ready to trade in Jeep Wagoneers or Dodge Chargers that they bought 3 or 4 years ago can't afford the latest models. Not just because the models are more expensive, but because when they bought those cars, they paid a lower interest rate. And now if they trade in their old cars, the new interest rate's higher. But I really think what hurts most of them is the fact that when they try to get service on their cars, the service centers are sucking. Do you understand what it means if they go on strike and now the service centers either can't get the parts or the service centers have no one working to fix your car? Do you understand what that means? My Jeep SRT, for the last time it was in service, the engine needed a new cam, and they had replaced a couple of other things. They had fixed a couple of other things on it, but the engine needed a new cam, and it was causing misfires, I believe, in the spark plugs, and I couldn't get the part because the part was down in like Tennessee or something, and they were on strike. And what ended up happening was the manager rushed it along because he knew me. And what he did was he got a performance cam from basically like another part supplier, and he got that part for me instead. And they were able to, because I took videos, I took pictures. My Jeep's engine was literally sitting next to the car, and like the whole car, like the car was empty. There was like no engine in it, and they had to take that whole engine apart. And I was like, yo, this is crazy, because my car had been sitting there for like months. It had been sitting there for a long time. And even when I dropped the car off, the guy said, yeah, you know what, we're not even going to be able to look at this for at least 2 weeks. And I basically said, you know what, I can't deal with this bullshit, because the thing about it is, it's not like this is a Corvette and this is a Sunday driver or something. I was using that truck as my daily driver. And, you know, some people, like, yeah, you know, it's not, if you have like 2 or 3 cars or something like that, you can be like, okay, yeah, well, I'll put this performance car into the shop and they can hold on to it for as long as they need to hold on to it, and I won't miss it. But the reality is, it's like, no, I was using this shit as a daily driver at the time. So going over to Cadillac and getting an electric vehicle, I have to say, I'm hitting, almost 9,000 miles in my Lyric. And I've had way fewer problems than I had with Chrysler. When I had my 300 SRT, the 2012 one, I had way more problems. That car was constantly in the shop, and it was over stupid little things. Like one time, I got bad gas, and I know that's not the car's fault, but then there were other things. There were like issues with the sensors, the oxygen sensors, the engine. Like, it was like that car was, I constantly had to keep taking that car back and forth to the shop. And for the most part, they were doing a pretty good job servicing it. But yeah, I mean, that car there was always a maintenance issue, always. With my Jeep SRT, somewhere around, 60,000 miles, I was expecting to have all-wheel drive issues. Slightly before 60,000, yeah, I had my rear differential had to be replaced. Slightly after that, my air conditioner they basically had to the compressor, and all that, and then they had issues getting the parts for that at a certain point. Then they had to do the engine, and that was before the shit hit 90,000 miles. So it was like now you're factoring in, okay, wait a minute, now they got a strike, and you can't get the parts. It's like, nah, man. It's like I was like, fuck this. It was like at that point I was getting like, yo, listen. I went to Cadillac. I was like, yo, guys, can you get me this car? And how long will it take? And then I went to Mercedes. I went to BMW. I was like, yo, where's the iXs? Let me see an iX or an i7. And I didn't even want those cars. But the bottom line is they were actually had them and they weren't on strike. So what are you going to do? But it was crazy because I was like, nah, man, I don't want to have to buy a rental car and drive around a fucking rental simply because y'all can't get your shit together. And then that's the other thing. With Stellantis, I never had a problem before with, like, when it was FCA. I never had a problem typically getting either a loaner or I never had a real problem with the service because it was never very long term. So if I did need a loaner, for the most part, they made sure I had a loaner. And I took it for granted that they would always have a loaner available for me when I went there. But when that UAW strike shit started, it was like, nah, it was like, yeah, there's no loaners, or, we're not putting your name on the loaner list. I was like, what the fuck you mean you're not putting my name on the loaner list? It's like, when they pulled that bullshit on me, I was like, fuck this company, I'm done. And I was like, nah, I'm out of here. And I'm never buying shit from you ever again. That's exactly how I felt. So that's just what it is. And I had a loaner. I had that Chevy Colorado, and there was something else. It was the Chevy Colorado. I was driving that thing a long time, and it was like there was a certain the warranties that they sell, the extended warranties, they only cover a small percentage of your rental. And I had to renew that car like maybe 3 or 4 weeks in a row. And I was driving that thing like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. And I wasn't happy. But the problem was there was nothing you could do. There was nothing else you could buy unless you were spending top dollar to buy something. So I was like, nah, man, I'm out. I'm done. I am done. It's like at a certain point, it's like I had enough. It's like if I go to Mercedes deals with a bunch of these old ass retirees. And these people will let you have it in a second if you try that bullshit, oh yeah, well, we don't have any loaners. Nah, you don't try that shit with them. BMW, Mercedes, and I'm pretty sure even Audi, they understand. They're like, yo, listen, these people spent money on these cars, and if we don't have loaners ready for them in case something happens, it's like they're gonna be up our ass. And these are old, wealthy people. It's like these are professional people. These people will cut us a new asshole. So for the most part, even like Mercedes, they had like plenty of loaners. Their problem was they couldn't get new cars because it was during that chip shortage. Because coming into between 2020 and 2022, they had that chip shortage, so they had lots that had nothing on them. So I was I was looking at their lots, and I was like, wait a minute. It's like y'all don't have any new cars. It's like you've got used cars in your showroom floor. Like they had nothing to sell. And that was an issue. It was really an issue back then. And Chrysler was the same thing. At a certain point, their showrooms started drying up, and they had like nothing. They had like nothing you really wanted. But I was like, nah, man, I can't deal with this bullshit. I gotta get up out of here. But anyway, it says, the Chargers that they bought 3 or 4 years ago can't afford the latest models because the interest rates were higher. It says Dodge dealers have, on average, 149 days of supply on lots, including many 2023 models, according to Cox. That is almost twice the industry average. Market share of Stellantis brands in the United States has fallen to 8.6% as of the end of June from 10.4% a year earlier. Dealers are furious. Kevin Farish, the chairman of the Stellantis National Dealer Council, which represents the company's independent car dealers, blamed decisions that favored short-term profits and helped Mr. Tavares qualify for a 50% pay raise last year, earning nearly $40 million. The reckless short-term decision-making to secure record profits in 2023 has had devastating yet entirely predictable consequences in the U.S. market. Mr. Farish and other members of the council wrote in a letter to Tavares this month, those consequences include the rapid degradation of our iconic American brands. You created this problem, the dealers wrote in an unusually direct rebuke. Stellantis declined to make Mr. Tavares available for an interview. In a statement, the company said his compensation was in line with other automotive chief executives, taking into account corporate profits. The president of the UAW, Sean Fain, has been just as strident in his criticism of Mr. Tavares, accusing him of backpedaling on promises to revive operations at a shuttered factory in Belvidere, Illinois, and of planning to move production of the Dodge Durango, a large sport utility vehicle, from Detroit to Canada. Either we allow an out-of-control CEO and his billionaire backers who have enjoyed years of record profits to close plant after plant and continue destroying our country, Mr. Fain told union members last week, or we stand up. The confrontation between Stellantis and the UAW comes a year after strikes helped workers win record pay raises. Yeah, you won the pay raises, and then they took your fucking jobs from you by closing the goddamn factories. I've seen this before. If I'm not mistaken, this is kind of what GM did, like, a long time ago. Like, this is how they destroyed Flint, Michigan. It was like, yeah, we had thriving communities in most of America that were getting like the middle class was growing and getting wealthy. And then these CEOs, they said, fuck that. And what they did was they took all that money, made their bonuses, and they let Detroit, Michigan have lead water. And then they basically ran these places down, and that's what it was. I mean, it's funny, Michael Moore, when he shows, what was that, Bowling for Columbine, I think, and the other documentary is Roger and Me, and he literally showed how these corporations, by chasing profits, they were literally letting these townships just destroy themselves and taking all the money out of them. It's like, yeah, this I've seen this before. Like, I know a lot of, people either don't pay attention to history or don't watch a lot of movies, but no, I've seen this shit before. I saw this in RoboCop fucking 1 and RoboCop Part 2. I've seen this before. This is no surprise. So these union workers go on strike. They think they've won. So what the company does is they say, yeah, you may have won all this, but we're going to shut down the factory and now you ain't got a job. And then they move the shit to Mexico or Canada or wherever the hell else they move it. So no surprise to me. It says, as part of the contract that ended those strikes, workers won the right to walk out if the company didn't meet its commitment. Yeah, go ahead. You can walk out. You ain't got no job no way. A right that the union is now threatening to invoke. The company denied that it was violating any commitments to the UAW and said it had not confirmed plans to move Durango production. Stellantis has abided and will continue to abide by the agreement the parties reached in 2023. Carlos Zarlinga, the chief operating officer of Stellantis North America, said in an email to Fain on Monday. And so this is Belvidere Assembly. The UAW has pressed Stellantis to restart auto production at a plant in Belvidere, Illinois, that the company idled in early 2023. Okay. The problems at Stellantis raised doubts about the series of acquisitions during the last decade that made it the fourth largest car maker after Toyota, Volkswagen, Hyundai, Kia. Stellantis is fifth if the alliance of Renault, Nissan, and Mitsubishi is considered one company. The deal making led by Tavares was supposed to allow the company's car brands to share the cost of developing new technology and save money by using common components. The rationale was that bigger car makers had a better chance to survive in an upheaval caused by the industry's shift to electric vehicles and autonomous driving. Those benefits have not materialized as much as the company hoped, analysts said. The company disagreed, saying in a statement that combining automakers had saved $8 billion since 2019. Stellantis offers a wide selection of midsize and small cars in Europe. In the United States, however, Jeep's model lineup is heavily on higher-priced, large sport utility vehicles after it discontinued the smaller Cherokee and Renegade models last year. That change came just as cost-conscious buyers began showing a preference for smaller SUVs like the Toyota RAV4, Chevy Trax, and the Honda CR-V. And you know what's a real shame is when I look at those cars like the Honda CR-V, the Honda HR-V, the Toyota RAV4, it's like, what was Dodge Chrysler's answer? Their answer was the fucking Hornet. They've been steadily moving all of this European junk to America. And it started really with Sergio Marconi. And I knew then, and I'll tell you, I've been watching, because I've been, watching this for a long time. I've been watching this unfold. When they started bringing all that Fiat shit here, Maserati, Fiat, Alfa Romeo, I was like, wait a minute. These cars are small. Most of them really aren't fast. And they're like small cars. It was like, the average American don't want this shit. These cars are not big. They're not big enough. And then I know there's some people be like, hey, yeah, well, you're not a regular size. You're 6'6", you're a big guy. It's like, yeah, stupid. Hey, stupid. Americans want cars that are big, huge, and fucking fast. They don't buy a goddamn Ford 150 and put the shit on stilts and make it higher than it should be because they wanted a small truck. Moron. They don't buy Dodge Chargers and Challengers because they want small cars. Idiot. They don't buy, They don't buy like Mercedes S-Classes and shit because they want small cars. They don't buy Ram 1500s because they want small cars. So what do these stupid assholes over at Stellantis do? They bring us the Dodge Hornet. Now, when I first saw that car at New York International Auto Show, I think it was back in 2021, because 2020, the auto show was canceled, obviously, because that was COVID's year. So everything was canceled. But in 2021, I believe, that's when I went to the New York International Auto Show, and I saw a Dodge Hornet. And I could be wrong. It could have been 2019, but I really think it was 2021. And in addition to that, I also saw they had it there. They had the Dodge, because I video recorded it. They had the Demon 170, and they also had the Dodge Charger EV concept. So I try to go over to the Hornet, and I actually try to sit into the thing. That goddamn thing was so fucking small. It actually felt smaller than trying to sit in a Jeep Compass. And the Jeep Compass is that's a small car. Like, the Jeep Cherokee is small for me, but the Compass is much, much smaller. But this Hornet was even smaller than that. And I was like, this is bullshit. Like, they're putting this thing out. Now, it's one thing to put out a car that's that small. It's a total another thing to try to charge $50,000 for it. And these people have been pushing this Euro shit. Alfa Romeo, Fiat 500s. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, is there really competition with the Smart for two? Like, the average American ain't trying to buy that shit. Now, yeah, there are a couple of people who might buy one because they think that shit is cute, right up until a 5,000-pound Jeep Grand Cherokee slams into them in traffic and kills them in the car. But the reality is the average American ain't trying to buy no little-ass car like that. And these people have been pushing this shit on us. There's a Alfa Romeo dealer not far from me. There's a Fiat dealer not far from me. There's a Maserati dealer a little bit further away. Those cars sit on those lots. I got a call, in fact, believe it or not, I got a call from Maserati Ferrari on the Long Island Expressway because I had actually made a video a while back and I had actually been there looking at the Levante when it first came out. The Maserati Levante was that SUV. And they kept my information because when I went there, it was, they had invited me to Cars and Coffee a couple of times. Like I went there like 2 years in a row. I think COVID put an end to most of that. Like the parties, the outdoor parties, they killed it. But for the most part, the guy calls me up. And he's like, "Hi, yeah, this is your friend from Ferrari Maserati." I was like, "Friends? I don't got no friends for who? Friends? I ain't got no friends in no Ferrari Maserati." So they had kept my information, and I guess they were cold calling, checking to see if I was interested in the car. So I let the guy know. I was like, "Well, I'm really, I just bought a car. I really because this was like 2 weeks ago, not even maybe. But I was like, yo, I just bought a car, and, I'm not in the market for it." And they were like, "Oh, yeah, well, I see when you were here, you were looking at such and such." And I was like, "Yeah, well, that was a long time ago. That was like 4 or 5 years ago." But, nah, man, those cars literally sit on those lots. Those cars do not move. Those Ferraris, those things sit on those lots. Like, there's a couple of people who buy Ferraris, but it's not like this is not the 80s. It's like nobody's out there rushing to buy a fucking SF90. It's like there's a handful of people, but that's not the norm. I think Lamborghini probably gets more people really seriously, buying those cars than somebody's coming to freaking Ferrari. But nah, man, it's like, why are you calling me? You're calling me, and this was not that long ago. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, they put all this bullshit Italian cars and this stuff. Nobody wants that stuff, and that's the reality. That's really what Stellantis is really facing. It's like you've tried to flood us with cars that we don't want. Now, never mind that. First of all, the V8 is pretty much dead. Everybody's scaling back on these cars. What Stellantis's goal is to put them twin turbo V6 engines into anything they could put it into and call that high performance. The reality is, you could say, "Oh yeah, well, this thing on paper it outperforms the Hemi and it's got like more. It's got 10% more." Listen, nobody gives a fuck. That's not what they want. Most of these people would rather take the regular Hemi V8 over a twin turbo Hurricane. It's not about the power output. It's about they don't want that. That's what it is. And you could say, "Oh yeah, well you're being prejudiced and shit." It's like, no, it's not that. V6 has 2 less cylinders than V8. It's simple fucking math. It's not that complicated. It's not prejudice. It's I can count, and that's the reality. Most of these people, they just don't want it. Like you say, "Oh yeah, well we're gonna replace you have what is it? A 797 horsepower Hemi in your Charger and your Challenger. You have an 840 horsepower Hemi in your Daytona King Charger. But what we're going to do is we're going to replace that with an electric. We're going to replace that with an electric vehicle, and we're going to replace that with a Hurricane engine that makes 540 horsepower." It's like, hey guys, it's like, they don't want that, and you'd be stupid to try to force that, but they don't have a choice. See, that's the thing. Whether Carlos stays or leaves, the V8's dead. They don't have a choice at this point. And if they don't have a choice, that means the consumer doesn't have a choice. The consumer's new option is, okay, I'm going to leave and go buy a car from somebody else. And that's what it comes down to. Now, they don't want to do that because the average consumer, let's face it, these are egotistical children who want to make a lot of noise and who don't mind shopping, even though they have bad credit, most of them. And they want something that stands out, that's flashy and shiny and everything, whether they can afford it or not. But now you've taken that option from them. So now they're going to be forced to go to, who is it? Nissan, Toyota, Hyundai, Honda, Ford. They were talking all this bullshit. Oh, yeah, well, I'm going to go to Ford. I'm going to buy a V8 Mustang. It's like, no, you're not. And the reason why is because that V8 Mustang, it really isn't what you want. It's not big enough. It's not like these Chargers and Challengers are like fucking SUVs, basically. That's how big those cars are. That Mustang, it's not big enough. It doesn't even have 4 doors. That the Dodge Charger was selling because that shit was a 4-door sedan with a fuckload of power in it. Mustang don't make no 4-door sedan. It's like oh yeah, well, I'm going to go over GM, buy a Corvette. No, you're not. No, you're not. You know why? Because they're going to charge you so much to buy that Corvette, you're not even going to be able to afford it. Not to mention, it's impractical. It's a 2-door coupe. You can't even fit your book bag into that shit. It's like, you're not. Mustang hasn't sold a damn bit more of them dark horses in the last couple of weeks than they anticipated not being able to sell because the Charger and Challenger still being on the lots. It's like, no, you're not. You can threaten, but you're not going nowhere. You're not going nowhere. That's the reality. And Ford, eventually, they'll be forced to give up them V8s too. And once that happens, yeah, they're EcoBoost. That's all you get. Ego Boost. They call it the EcoBoost with a C. I call it the Ego Boost with a G. It's trying to boost your ego. It's just like that commercial where they got the V8, the drink. Oh, I could have had a V8. Yeah, that's right. No, you're not. It's over. It's over. Within the next 10 years, within the next 2 generations of these cars, it's all going to be hybrids and electric vehicles, and that's it. That's it. They've basically, it's just what it is. I'm sorry. It's done. So it says, and Stellantis has been unable to arrest the decline of Chrysler. They haven't tried. They didn't give the Chrysler 300 a Hellcat model. They discontinued the Chrysler 300 SRT at the height of selling these shitty scat packs. At the height of selling these shitty scat packs at high sticker prices, they discontinued a Chrysler 300 SRT8, and they didn't give it a Hellcat. What did Chrysler have? Chrysler had 2 fucking minivans. They had the Pacifica and the Voyager. That's all you left them. You kept promising the Airflow EV concept, and then you bring out this Halcyon bullshit. I was like, I took one look at the thing. I was like, that is never getting built, ever. And the mere fact that the whole company looks like it's about to go down, it certainly isn't going to get built. So anyway, which began decades ago and was once a formidable rival to Chevrolet and Ford Motor, Chrysler's lineup has dwindled to one vehicle, the Pacifica minivan, which is available as a plug-in hybrid, which has a lot of problems. One of the things that I mentioned, electric vehicles actually have fewer vehicle fires than gas cars, but both gas cars and electric vehicles have far fewer fires than hybrids. A hybrid gives you the sophistication of a gas car and the sophistication of an electric vehicle. A hybrid loses a lot of space because it has this big battery pack in it, but the problem is you're also dealing with gas. The sophistication has proven that these hybrids are far more likely to be involved in a vehicle fire than even an electric vehicle. Now that they have those lithium ion phosphate batteries, EVs are less likely to burst into flames than a freaking plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. Now, Stellantis has been having a lot of issues with these cars bursting into flames just sitting there, and they don't have any electric vehicles fielded yet. They have that Wagoneer S coming. They got the Charger EV coming. But this 4xe shit, you better park that shit outside. You better not park it inside your garage because you just don't know. And then the build quality has been shoddy, so that's not helping either. So anyway, what does it say? Stellantis said it was taking steps to regain market share, including cutting the starting price of its least expensive model, the Jeep Compass, to below $30,000. The company said this week that it would revive the Chrysler Voyager minivan with a starting price of $40,000, slightly less than the least expensive Pacifica. The new Voyager will go on sale at the end of the year. Bigger discounts for models like the Ram 1500 Classic pickup helped Stellantis sales in the United States and Canada surge 20% in August, the company said. Still, with so many unsold vehicles, Stellantis faces pressure to throttle production and cut jobs, which is obviously upsetting to the UAW, said Kevin Roberts. And I heard they cut a lot of jobs just recently, in fact. Director of Industry Analytics and Insights at Car Gurus, a car shopping website. We're not seeing a plan to bring back to volume we once had, said Sean Hogan, the vice president of Sierra Auto Group. Dealers complain that the company does not have a clear strategy. No, they don't. I think their only strategy at this point is to, survive as long as possible, but I don't even think they figured that out. Our businesses are suffering. Our employees are suffering. And Sean Hogan, the vice president of Sierra Auto Group, which owns Stellantis dealerships in Los Angeles, we're not seeing a plan to bring us back to the volume we once had. Mr. Hogan, also the secretary of the company's dealer council, said he met with top Stellantis executives on Monday, but was not satisfied by what he heard. The automaker is still not offering incentives that are generous enough to increase sales and allow dealers to make a decent profit, he said in the email. Mr. Fain, the UAW president, told members that at least one union local would hold a strike authorization vote soon. Let me tell you something. If Stellantis has another fucking strike, I don't know what to say to you, especially if you have one of their cars. I don't know what to say to you, because I guarantee you something wrong will go down with your car while that strike is happening and you won't be able to get it fixed. I don't even know what to tell you. It says under the terms of the contract with Stellantis, the union would be obligated to meet at least 7 times with management to try to resolve its grievances. A strike would happen only if the talks were unsuccessful. In the short term, factory shutdowns by striking workers may be a blessing in disguise for Stellantis, buying time to clear dealer lots of unsold vehicles. No, that's not going to happen. But the company would also risk damaging its brands by alienating car buyers who are sympathetic to union demands. Labor unrest is never good, Mrs. Keating of Cox Automotive said. So basically, they're screwed in every single direction. Now, I know it's very easy to simply blame Carlos Tavares. See, the problem is a lot of people, they want to just pick a face and put that face on their problem. It's like the Joker was saying in that first Batman movie. He was like, I have put a face on my pain and it is the Batman. It's like, no, everybody wants to just put one face on their problem. Carlos Tavares is not the problem. He's not the problem. Carlos Tavares is just part of the problem, but he's not the main problem. The main problem, really, you want to know what the main problem is? The main problem is the fact the Federal Reserve raised interest rates so many times, and now you can't get these cars at a reasonable price anymore. That's the real problem. They screwed and I'll go a step further. The government in general, forget not just the Federal Reserve, the government shutting down these factories during COVID, that's your problem right there. When they had those chip shortages, that was your problem right there. First of all, these people work in factories. Face mask and PPE and all that shit, that should have been like standard fare. By shutting us down and then paying people to stay home and raising up all this inflation, that was your problem right there. Your problem was the government shut down these instead of saying, okay, listen, you know what, we're gonna keep on production, we're gonna keep it moving, but we're gonna make sure you have personal protection and you wear a mask or this, that, and other. They shut us down, and then they had people getting paid to stay home. That inflation that they created, along with all of the loss of those parts that weren't manufactured on time, set us up for where we are right now. See, they just want to the greedy corporations are gouging prices. Yeah, the reality is corporations don't want to raise prices. The whole point of the corporation is to try to strike a balance between price and the quality that the consumer is willing to buy. The whole point of the corporation is to figure out ways to bring down prices. They really don't want to raise prices. But when you've got a government that's printing out money and making it so that inflation rises over time, because now you've got people who've got all this money that they shouldn't have. That's what really did it. And you're not just feeling it in the car market, you're feeling it in all of the market. You're feeling it everywhere. You're feeling it when you go grocery shopping. You're feeling it when you go to the gas station, although I will say that they're doing their best to suppress gas prices. They're trying to install Princess Kamala, but they're doing their best to try to keep gas prices as low as possible right up until that election's over. And once that happens, you're fucked. But you're feeling it everywhere. You're feeling the inflation everywhere, not just these cars. I don't blame Carlos Tavares for what's happening right now. I really blame the government for what's happening right now. Now, a lot of people don't see it that way because, oh, no, the corporations are greedy and they raise the prices. Do you really believe that Stellantis wants to have a bunch of cars sitting on their lots that they can't sell? No, the answer is no. They want to sell those cars, but they can't. And it's not just because of the MSRP. It's because of the interest rates. If the banks can't lend you or won't lend you the money, you can't buy them, which is another thing. These people, oh, yeah, well, if we could get rid of Carlos Tavares, it's like, yeah, we could bring back the American V8 and Hemi and all that bullshit. Have you taken a look at the prices on these fucking cars? Carlos Tavares didn't set these prices. These dealerships are setting the prices. Carlos Tavares wasn't even there when they sold the original Demon, and they were selling him shits for $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 over sticker. This is not his problem. This is a problem with the way the system works in general. Those dealers were buying those cars and then reselling them to you in order to get around certain laws. In some cases. In some cases, those market adjustments, yeah, there's inflation, market adjustments. They were marking those cars up because they couldn't sell anything else. They knew that, oh, okay, these people want these Hellcats, they want these Durango Hellcats, they want these Demon, they want this, but they don't want anything else. So we have to mark these cars up. We have no choice. They were trying to make up for the losses that they were suffering on everything else. So no, I don't blame, listen, I don't give a shit about Carlos Tavares, but the bottom line is I don't blame him for what's happening. I blame the government. That's where your real problem started. These interest rates are so high that when you go to these when you go to the car dealerships now, you go and you look at what the market looks like now. It's like if you even try to buy like a regular Jeep Grand Cherokee, it's going to cost you a fortune. Like you're going to pay, even if you were somehow able to find one right now, and it's like $40,000. The interest rate is so high. Even if you have excellent credit, the interest rate is so high that short of you leasing the car, and most of these people don't want to lease it, they want to finance it, they want to just pay the monthly payment for like 6 or 7 years. It's a fortune. I mean, $40,000, at a 3% interest, it's not that bad. But when you're talking about 7% interest, yeah, that's not good. That's not good at all. So I personally don't blame Carlos Tavares for what's going on. I understand that there was oversight. I understand that there was some arrogance. I understand all that. But the thing about it is most of that was reactionary to what the government itself was doing. So like when I'm listening to these YouTubers, and all of them are basically saying the exact same thing. Yeah, Carlos got to go and blah, blah, blah. It's like my question is, well, what do you think things are going to be like after Carlos Tavares is gone? Do you think that all of a sudden they're going to reverse course? Is that what you think? Like, for example, if it was me there, first of all, I never would have gotten rid of the Dodge Magnum. I would have kept producing that. I never would have had a Dodge Hornet. I never would have had Fiat and Alfa Romeo and all that shit trying to encroach on what I was selling. I never would have allowed any of that. We would have had the Dodge Magnum Hellcat. We would have had the 300 Hellcat. By now, we'd be putting out more power than Bugatti if it was me in charge. We'd have, not no stupid Jeep Trackhawk. That's a stupid name. It would have been called the Jeep Hellcat. I don't give a fuck about the trademarks. We'd have had the Jeep Hellcat. We'd have had the Durango Hellcat. Everything would have been a Hellcat. We would have had the Chrysler Pacifica Hellcat in limited editions. And believe me, people would have bought that shit. They'd be like, yeah, this is the fastest goddamn minivan on the planet Earth. People would have bought that. And I'd have I'd be like, yeah, we're going to limit the production of this Pacifica Hellcat. We're going to limit this shit to like 3,000 units. I would have sold every last one of them. But guess what? You couldn't. That was unsustainable. Like, I remember somebody saying, yeah, they had to get rid of these W16 engines, and they had to get rid of these W12s. They had to get rid of it because this stuff was unsustainable. With gas prices where they are, let's not forget Biden and his sanctions on Russia. Let's not forget the gas prices. You got gas prices sky high. Insurance costs are sky high. When you got all of this stuff and everything's like just high priced, all of this becomes unsustainable. That's the reason why the repo man is at work right now, towing the shit. He's towing something. He's always towing somebody's car because these people aren't paying these bills. They can't afford it. How long can somebody afford this stuff? And I will say, and let me say something else, something that you really don't hear nobody else say. And I've noticed I've never heard nobody. You hear somebody out there with this goddamn car and they're fucking revving this shit. This is the reason why when they put your ass in a fucking electric vehicle, I'm not going to shed a tear because I'm up here trying to record my video and you're up there revving this stupid ass, old ass car. But anyway, what was I saying? I know I was saying something. I'm just trying to remember. Yeah, but wait, it'll come back to me. But no, all I'm saying is, yeah, this stuff is unsustainable. These people can't afford this shit. So something had to give. And now they're moving in the complete opposite direction. So Chrysler and Dodge and Jeep and Ram, all of this stuff is supposedly going electric. They've already made the plans. You have to understand, they can't turn around at this point. That Ram REV is in production, I think. The Wagoneer S is in production. I think it was September 9th, the week of September 9th and 11th. That's when they were like producing these cars. They started producing them. The Charger EV is coming. They can't change those plans. They just can't. They have no choice but to, what did George Bush always say? He said, you got to stay the course. They got no choice. There is no 180 at this point. They can't just turn around. They can't do it. What do you want? What do you want? You want to keep on pushing V8 engines that nobody can afford because gas is damn near $4 a gallon? Oh, yeah, well, if they can buy the car, then they shouldn't have to worry about the gas prices. It's like, yo, listen, the real world don't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, you know what? Now I remember what I was about to say. And you don't hear nobody else say this. Because of the fact that most of y'all can't afford to buy a house, that's part of the reason why you have so much extra money to go out and buy these fucking scat packs and these stupid ass, these played out Hellcats. If you don't have a piece of property and you're not dedicating your money to that property, that's part of the reason why you have this extra money, or you feel like you have this extra money where you can run out there and you can buy expensive shit, or you could buy one of these expensive show-off cars, like a Ram TRX or something. It's like, if you don't have property, yeah, that's part of the reason. Now, granted, there are some people who have property and they have extra money to go out and buy this stuff. But I'll also say this. Another reason why a lot of you got that extra money laying around is because you're not married and you don't have any children. Now, I'm not saying you have to be married to have children. What I'm saying is most of you have all of this extra money laying around because you don't have children, you're not married, and you don't have a property. Some of you are living with your fucking parents, and you're either living in mommy's basement or you're living in daddy's attic. Some of you have like apartments and stuff. If you're lucky, they're rent controlled. Maybe you don't live in the best part of town. I don't know. But the reality is, it's like, yeah, there are reasons why you have all this extra money laying around. what Stellantis has been getting away with, selling these cars for $80,000, $90,000, $100,000, that had to give. That couldn't last forever. And then on top of that, the insurance prices have steadily been increasing because their prices have been increasing. And then with the market adjustments, the insurance prices have been rapidly appreciating. It's like it had to give. This couldn't last forever. It just couldn't last forever. It's like, what did you expect? You were going to have a 2,000 horsepower V8? You thought you were going to have a Hemi, a Elephant? Is that what you thought? You were going to have a supercharged Elephant? Is that what did you really think that this was going to keep going? It couldn't. I realized years ago, I was like, you know what? This company is doomed. There were so many little signs that I saw, and I was like, wait a minute. They're literal, and then they came out and announced, the end of the production of the V8. They said the end of the Hemi. I was like, wait a minute. The Hemi is the only thing y'all got that is actually allowing you to sell these fucking cars. I was like, it's time for me to jump ship. So what did I do? I went and bought me a Cadillac. You know, if it hadn't been a Cadillac, it would have been a Mercedes. And if it hadn't been that, I really don't like BMW, but it probably would have been either a Mercedes. I don't think I would have bought a Ford. I think I could have dealt with a GM car other than a Cadillac. I could have, but no. I mean, I do like that Chevy Silverado EV. I like that. But, nah, man. I was like, see, my problem is it's not even just the engines anymore. I don't trust the company. Stellantis, I'm not happy with the service that this company has been offering. I'm not happy with it. I haven't been happy with it in the last, say 5 or 6 years. I haven't been happy with the service. And I'm not even talking, my dealer has done what they could to make me happy, but I'm not happy with their parents. I'm not happy with Stellantis. I'm not happy with it at all. A lot of newcomers want to buy these cars. They want to buy Jeep Grand Cherokees, but they can't afford them. A lot of newcomers, they want to buy these Ram 1500s. The prices of those have gone up. They've pushed the prices of those up. Every time I go to the lot, I'm looking at these things. Oh, wait a minute. Holy fuck. These things are really that expensive? I thought these things were cheaper than that. But they pushed the prices up. And now they say, the new Ram, you got to get the Hurricane engine, 540 horsepower. It's like, listen, the reliability on those things, from what I've been hearing, the reliability on those Hurricane engines is not good. I can't trust this company anymore. I can't. I've held the stock since it was FCA, and at this point now, this is the point now when now they're getting class action lawsuits, and now I really think the next thing you're going to start hearing is you're going to start hearing about hedge funds lining up to basically eat that company's lunch, and that's when you're going to have a problem, because I swear to God, the moment that I see that Stellantis isn't paying a dividend, oh no, I think I'm going to have to sell at that point. I'm going to sell all, and I have I have over 1,000 shares. And I'm going to have no choice. I'm going to have to sell that shit. Now, I was trying to hold it as long as I could. Right now, again, they're still paying a 10.3% dividend, but there's no fucking way. At this point, I don't believe in the company's longevity anymore. Will Stellantis fold? I don't know. Will they split Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, and Jeep off and spin those off? I don't think they will. I really don't think they will. I think that they're going to try to keep on moving forward, despite all of the controversy, despite all the problems. I think they're not going to let these companies go. I don't think they're going to do it. And I know, you're ruining America, you're ruining our heritage. But guess what? Even if you get that shit back, you're still going to be right back. Do you realize Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, these companies have been passed around like a cheap hooker? If you remember, ever since 2008, and even before that, they had that merger with Daimler Chrysler, and then even at what was it, Cerberus, and then FCA, and then after FCA, now they ended up with Stellantis. It's like this company has been passed around like a cheap hooker. a lot of their other brands like Plymouth and all those other things that you can think of, they've disappeared, and they're nowhere to be found. They're gone. And I just don't. I can't deal with this company anymore. I can't deal with it. The thought of having to take my Jeep to them for service, it makes me sick. If there's one reason why I would get rid of that Jeep, the reason why is Stellantis. It's like I can't deal with them. I just can't deal with them. So my Jeep has held value for the most part as a trade-in, but that's only because they're trying to push you into another loan or they're trying to upsell you to something else. But the reality is, it's like I just can't deal with that company anymore. I can't. So it's like, any repairs that I make to that truck, I have to do them myself. And that's it. It's like, AAA could help, but for the most part, and then that's another thing. These vehicles are slaved to the dealer. Like, these vehicles are full of computers. These vehicles are full of shit that only the dealer sells. Most warranties, have to be honored by the dealer itself. It's like most mechanics will not touch this stuff. It's like certain parts of these cars, they don't even want to deal with it. They're like, nah, you got to take that to the dealer. It's like, nah, when I start hearing that shit, it's like, nah, man, it's time to make other decisions. Because, even with a paid off car, it's not worth keeping if you can't drive it and not worry about something going wrong with it. All of these people who are still rushing out trying to buy these damn Scat Packs and these fucking Hellcats, it's like, I don't know what's wrong with you. Maybe it's that you don't listen to the news. Maybe it's that you don't have any idea what's going on. But there's no way I'd be buying one of those cars from them right now. No way. And then they're talking strike? It's like, you must be kidding. So, yeah, that's my rant. I could keep going. I could go on for a long period of time on this one. But changes are coming. I don't know what those changes are going to look like. But what I can promise you is it don't look good.